Crystal, yes, by all means, go ahead.
You're live.
Okay, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Good afternoon, everybody. I call the meeting to order at 15:02. May we please go ahead and stand, face the flag, and recite the pledge of allegiance.
To the republic for which it stands, one nation. Well, with liberty.
That with me repeating myself back there.
I see you on Shenley. Tip that.
Okay, take roll. American Legion. Yeah, Mr. DBA 668.
Present.
Military Order Report.
Present.
United States Air Force Association, Mr.
Here.
Welcome to it. Very much. Paragon Veterans Organization. DV. Whoever is that. GY 671 here. DFW. Here. Represent Third Ring Division Association. Present. Genital Veterans. Actually, no, they actually want to get the paperwork to so. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we do have a quorum. We have enough members present to proceed. I'd like to go ahead and acknowledge and thank GoGuard for publishing the public notices on the 17th of July and the 22nd of July. Take a minute to take a look at the agenda in front of you. Okay. Agenda. And Joe, you'll be covering the GDA. Okay, can I get a motion to approve if there's no discussion on the agenda?
A motion to approve. A second.
Okay, we'll lead with the secretary report in absence of Mr. Chris Toran, as is here to give that report.
So our adjutant, Chris Toran, sent us an email. Did everybody get it on the email?
I know there was an email that was sent out and I just forwarded it. Unfortunately, I was looking for Mr. Senator Tom Adams' name. He wasn't on that drop down list. See, anybody else didn't receive the email? It was 4 attachments that Senator Adams had put together with the meeting minutes, which covers February, March, May, and June.
I don't think I got it. This one is basically a transcript of the conversations.
Correct.
Thanks. Yeah, I got that.
Okay, so you did get it.
Yeah, I got it.
Anybody else?
I did not receive it, but I'm new to the board.
Okay. Can you just make sure you give Jen your email address before we?
She's got it.
Yeah, anybody else?
I believe Senator Adams did not receive.
I forwarded it to him.
Okay.
So I was looking at that drop down list with all these names and his name was one that I didn't see. And I'll ask Chris also to update this list of email addresses. There are some people that are no longer needing to receive.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I know since majority are here and saw it, are there any corrections?
No, I would just go ahead and say, I think what Senator Adams was able to do was basically take the audio from the Zoom and or Facebook recordings, whatever, the YouTube page, wherever it was posted, and he was basically able to take the audio version, transcribe it using an app, and that's how he was able to generate the minutes. Basically what I did was I opened up each of the documents, just basically scanned through it, went through a few pages. There was everything that was basically discussed was in there. The only things that were a little questionable is when there's if the microphone was too far and it couldn't pick up some verbiage, that was the only thing. But for the gist of it, everything was in those minutes.
You're looking at the last one, which was two. To be approved in this.
Correct.
in this meeting. Did everybody get a chance to look at it? Okay,
Okay.
any corrections, any discussions?
Was there anything?
I just have a comment.
Sure.
I would say we should really take a look at the format of our minutes for this, 31 pages of conversation is not what I was expecting to look at. So I think we should probably work on summarizing that and just the salient points, and we don't have to have the entire transcript to review unless that's the intent of the board, but I won't be for it.
No, I appreciate that comment, and I would tend to agree, a summarized version to be presented, however, also having the backup of the entire discussion. Well, the backup would be the video itself when we go live, so that would be the backup of it. So if we can work with Mr. Toran to get to update the meeting minutes to be summarized.
The format
format
we
we saw.
previously had.
Yeah.
Okay, any other discussion? Was there anything else for the secretary report? Okay, so those are the notes. Move to the secretary. Present a summary of the report. I would recommend no more than 4 pages. If that 4 to 5 pages, keep it at maximum 5 pages for us to review key points. And at any time to refer, what I'd like is maybe on that same summary to have the link, the description of the link as to where they can refer back to the video feed. This way we have it in black and white. If you need to go back and watch the entire commission meeting, you can do so. You don't have to, hey, what day was it? When was it held? So on and so forth. You have that link right there. Okay. Do I have a motion to accept the secretary's report?
I mean,
Well, goes on. Second, students are. There are no objections. We accept the secretary's report. GVAO report, Mr. Minow.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, for the opportunity. I will do the route for Director San Agustin. For the non-appropriate funds, as of May 31st, 2025, under the cemetery funds, the reimbursement is 25,471 and 6 cents. Excuse me, under the veteran affairs funds, it's $466.34. Line item 2,
Yeah, on the cemetery fund.
Uh-huh.
That 25,000, that's the reimbursement that has been received, right?
yes, sir.
How much is in the pipeline? How much
Pending.
reimbursements has been sent in and is pending?
I'll have to get that information.
So like a forecast. So the next meeting from the director, can we at least have
Whatever's pending,
yes, what is.
so whatever was submitted to
Correct.
CA for reimbursements, okay.
And have that in each report moving forward, please. Thank you.
In essence, the report should show that if you had and during the month of July, let's say, you had 100 burials, then we should be able to break that down as 100 or let's say 50 requests for reimbursements pending to be submitted. 25, however many that
Were reimbursed.
is has been submitted and awaiting reimbursement, then how much has been
Okay.
received.
Is that a public record?
Not familiar with. We've never submitted it to any website for.
I only raise that issue because I know that in the past, the Veterans Affairs Office has had the situations where reimbursement requests were not being submitted.
Okay, that's a good way. Appreciate it. So that way at least we know if for whatever reason, zero, what happened? Was there a staff member out sick or whatever?
Right.
That's operations on your end. But we do appreciate that so that way we know and we can see what's coming down the pipeline. Appreciate that.
In regards to personnel updates, so we finally got the list from the Department of Administration. By next week, I will start calling for the setting up of the interviews of the new veteran service representatives that we get for our office.
How many are you anticipating?
6
Okay.
with the pending the retirement of Ron and of course the exit of Tanya Eubanks. So we will be picking up a total of 8, but 6 for next week, we will have started to coordinate interviews with them. And for the record, as stated in the previous commission meeting, Alan Turner has agreed, and I spoke offline with Jen Paz, so we'll work with the two of them for the setting up of the training of our VSOs, as well as coordinating for the TRIP training, which is the online training. And then I am currently working with Guam State Clearinghouse to bring an off-island trainer,
Okay.
to complement Alan and Jen's services that they'll assist us with.
Okay.
Do you, is that just for your personnel or are you trying to open that up
Yes, it's for our personnel. So
strictly?
Public Law 37-101 and 102, which was offered by Senator Tello Tydegui and Senator Joe San Augustine. They gave us a supplemental budget 1.3, which is covering the hiring of the 6 ASRs and the 6 cemetery workers.
If possible, may I make a request that should you bring in this additional trainer from off island, maybe even with Mr. Turner and Ms. Jen Paz, should any one of the organizations be interested in sending someone for training? Is that possible?
Well, so I spoke with Director San Augustine, and I think I'm able to bring it to the commission that if each of the commanders from the organizations under the Guam Veteran Commission, if you could submit me 1 or 2 names of any volunteer VSOs that would want to offer that type of service, to please forward them to me, because yes, we did get the okay from Guam State Clearinghouse and the director to include those volunteer VSRs to be a part of the training of the 6 classified VSRs for GOVA. We know that it is unfortunate that the previous cohort, fell through the cracks nonetheless, but we're gonna move forward. We're gonna make it correct this time. I already have a schedule line for the training as well as the OJT. And that's the on-the-job training that the first cohort was not offered. So with the incoming, I would like that they all be trained at the same time, so we're all on the same page. And when they conduct the OJT, that it will be our classified VSOs as well as the volunteers.
Okay, and the time frame for this trainer to include Mr. Turner and Ms. Jen Paz, what's the time frame of looking at starting the training?
Well, the processes of DOA, I'm going to call next week to start the interviews. Once we're done with the interviews and the candidates meet the
Requirements, yeah.
the hiring, I will execute the GG1 for their employment, and it's gonna take a while because it has to go through the many divisions at DOA to include the drug testing. Once I receive word back that they did pass the drug testing, then we can officially bring them on board.
So realistically, with the GG1, could take 2 to 3 months to finally bring them on board, so we're looking
I'm
at
thinking maybe 2 to 3 weeks.
2 to 3 weeks.
Because
Even better.
maybe I'm being a little bit optimistic, but I would like the director to maybe coordinate with DOA's director to see if we can get assistance to push it.
I agree.
Actually, let me just put it, the whole up here, it might take 2 weeks for it, but the whole up there is the drug testing. That's always the problem there. It takes a while for that to come back and even if all the paperwork is ready, but the drug test is the one that's more back.
The drug testing is sent off, I know.
Okay, so notwithstanding, gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, if you're interested in having someone attend the training by next commission meeting, please have 2 names ready to go, so we can give it to you.
Now, keep in mind with the volunteer VSOs, again, they're not paid, it's a volunteer basis. It would benefit your organization because they would be able to assist with the claims filings of your own respective organization. At the same time, they will work with us to coordinate community outreaches,
Mhm.
right? As I stated in the previous commission meeting, we did meet with the president of Mayor's Council, Guam, and where we would hold satellite places where our VSOs as well as the volunteer can situate themselves at the mayor's office, and rather than our veterans going all the way down to ASEM for a certification or whatever, it can be taken off-site. The only time that they would actually have to come down to ASEM is for an appeals, their BDD or DIC. But everything else we can execute off-site.
Okay.
Yeah.
Go ahead, sir.
We are still waiting for the listing for our 6 cemetery workers. That's a recruitment and process. I did set up that position to be a continuous, so there's no end date for anyone who wishes to apply for that position. I did make an amendment to that position because the previous position calls for them to have a valid chauffeur's license. Well, our current workers don't need to operate vans or any vehicles. However, I left it as a may possess chauffeur's license so that in the future, if we do need to, at least it's already set up. So we're just waiting for DOA to compile that listing and send it to me so we can conduct interviews. But that's a continuous position, so it's always going to be open.
Are you waiting for the full 6, or can you ask DOA to start processing if they have 2?
I'm just my experience with the VSRs, they sent me 10 names, so I'm
Okay.
thinking they're waiting for a sufficient number
List.
to present as a list.
Okay, sure.
But the difference between the VSR listing is it had an end date, whereas with the cemetery worker, there is no end date to that position.
So, just to help the process out, I mean, if you can, or we can get the job announcement, and we can push it via our veteran organizations. I mean, that can probably help increase that list, right?
Right.
Because not everybody watches television, not everyone listens to a radio.
I'll
So-
send the DOA link to the website of the cemetery worker on our chat, and then you can disseminate the
I
link.
appreciate it, thank you.
Also do the same thing, get the link and then shoot it out via email, adding Mr. Senator Ada's address, please.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
With our 2 customer service reps, we did have an interview yesterday, and I'm not sure it had to do anything with the weather, but the 3 who did confirm scheduled interview were no call, no show. So today, early this morning, I submitted the packet to DOA and asking them for another supplemental listing.
In the interim, is it possible for GOVA to take advantage of Department of Labor's federal programs?
We have on board, actually, they're part of our team that is allowing us to still run for the secretary and
Are any of them interested in the full-time positions?
they are, or they have.
Okay.
Without.
I would say if they're already there and doing some of the work, hey, you've got priority.
Yes.
Make sure you fill out the form so
So
we can.
based on the list that I have, they
Sure.
have.
Okay,
They've
that's
taken
good.
the opportunity.
Okay, that's good.
Is there any reason why, like, cemetery workers can't be picked up immediately as LTAs?
So we had in the past, Senator, LTAs. However, the processes for hiring LTAs have changed. So now I think they're trying to phase out the LTA positions and make them classified. But they're not grandfathered into the position. They have to formally apply. So I did inquire because currently GOVA has 2 vacant labor positions, but they're LTEs, limited term employees. We did try to submit to recruit, but DOA came back and reported to me that the current listings of labor position are classified, which GOVA's budget does not meet the classified position for labor. So we've tried every avenue to try to fill those 2 positions. Unfortunately, we're not able to. So we're moving forward with just recruiting the classified
Perhaps in
positions.
the future with the budget is converted from LTE to permanent classified. In the meantime, reach out to the director of Department of Labor. They have dislocated worker or there's the CSEP program, right? Work experience. Those guys should get them for at least 6 months and it's fully funded federal. But, you know, just recommendations. Sorry to keep dragging up by all means, Mr. Mano, go ahead and proceed.
So for line item number 3, under the equipment status, I did report to the director. The commission wanted a more specific listing in regards to the equipment. He provided that, of course, we have 1 backhoe, 2 Frontier pickup trucks, 2 mules, 1 golf cart, which 1 is in need of repair, 4 zero-turn riding mowers, 1 that is currently requiring service, and I think they are working to get that service. 1 punch mower, 6 bush cutters, 1 pole saw, 2 chainsaws, 2 water blasters, and 1 trailers.
Is this adequate or is there a need for more equipment or is this enough to maintain the cemetery workers right now?
Of course, moving forward with the hiring of the 6 new cemetery workers, we did submit to our oversight, Senator Sabrina Matanani, GOVA's wish list, which included possible 1 more backhoe, 1 more pickup truck, and other needed equipment.
Okay, so what I don't see on here is the lift and or the lowering devices.
So that will be purchased under the Public Law 37-101-102.
Okay, so that will be added eventually over here, so. You know, these, cause I recall in the past, I mean, this was maybe 4 or 5 years ago where those things were on loan.
Right.
From different funeral homes or whatever it may be. The lift, of course, for the crypts that are above the 3rd deck, things like that. Okay, so. go ahead.
Once, if we procure the lift and the lowering device, then it will be added onto this.
With that, did you guys factor in the maintenance and supply chain management of that equipment? Like X amount of hours, you know,
No,
maintenance of it?
I don't think it
Okay,
was.
yeah, I would recommend that, right? Because the supply and maintenance tell to any piece of equipment, right, atrophies. So if you don't got a plan for it, then we're gonna continue to buy brand new equipment rather than just maintain it. Just a recommendation.
Perhaps on the wish list, a mechanic, classified
I
mechanic.
wish we talked to the director about that because when I was military, I do maintenance.
Yeah.
Okay,
So that's one of the issues I will bring,
Yes, sir.
okay, sounds good, appreciate that.
Can I have a recommendation?
Yes, maybe.
All right, I was looking to this checklist here in the equipment. I believe what the cemetery needs is those lifters like like a cherry picker.
The scissor lift or the,
Something like when they need to get what do you call that, water buffalo with a water blaster. Because mainly some of this area up in the cemetery, you don't have any water lines. So it's best to have like a buffalo with the water blaster, what we use in our tuning. It's most recommendable to use only the water blaster itself. I think it's best to have that water buffalo that contains water in there and just go over rather than
having to hook up a hole.
so I know, I've seen those in front of Home Depot, they have the 275 gallon.
We got ours on yours.
Okay. So ERC has that towable one, right?
Right.
And it has the gallon plus the water blaster.
Yes, right.
Okay, put that on your wish list, Mr. Meno. with,
And the cherry picker, like goes up higher and water blast portion. Because I was recommending that to Joe.
Perhaps, yeah, because you don't want to use the scissor lift to lift the caskets while you're using, for maintenance, then you're getting water all over the place with that. Okay,
January. You need to our audit cemetery. I experienced that before.
more to add on that wish list, sir. Make it the inverter type, please, so that it's not so loud in case of burials or whatever, maybe you don't have a extremely loud generator running off in the background. Does the admin building and or the church have backup generators for the building? Say Saturday power goes out or it's a scheduled outage and there's a
There
burial.
was one, there was some talk of a generator to be included, but it exceeded the
amount.
amount, and they didn't I don't think they saw it feasible to or a need for the generator right now.
Well, it might be too big for the building, but with a decent size, let's say 10 kilowatt, you can operate fans, the microphone, the speakers. The doors can be left open. If the windows can open, then that's fine. The burial and the burial ceremony can still take place within the chapel if for whatever reason, right? You schedule a Saturday burial, you don't know that the power is going to be turned off, but it does. At least that generator is there to run the speaker, the microphone, some fans if necessary. It doesn't have to run the AC system. You can leave the doors open. 'Cause I remember at least 20, 30 years ago, there was no air conditioning. It was just doors open and windows open. So if we have at least fans to move that, I would recommend, that backup generator. If it's too big for the building, it's fine. It'll be okay to, just operate those fans and the required equipment to continue the process of the burial. Okay, appreciate that. Is there anything else that the cemetery borrows during special events? Those large canopies during Memorial Day, Veterans Day and all that, so you have all of that lined up, okay. Cause I know oftentimes they borrow from the mayor and Mayor Salas is always the first in line. His staff has to go down there on Saturday mornings and things like that, so, okay. I mean, if it's a wish list, you might as well wish for the stars and then let them go back, okay, what's not necessary, and then you can peel it back, because if it's not on that list, they don't think you need it. Okay, appreciate it, sir.
From our previous commission meeting, I did ask the director to give a timeline on regarding the grant. So we did submit the pre-application grant by 30 June. It was submitted before the due date, which was 1st of August. And so according to the state the director, the state cemetery data was submitted to NCA on 15 July.
Okay.
The architectural and engineering for 1,480 above ground crypts. We anticipate to have that be completed by September of this year.
And that's pending with DPW, correct?
Yes. And then October 2025, which will be the FY 2026, we would have the priority list for states and territories by the Cemetery Grants Program. As well as October 2025 will be the grant opportunity notification. That's when they'll notify each state and territory based on the priority listing their grant opportunity award.
Okay, so but at this point, as I understand it, as long as the A&E is submitted, it looks good. The pre-application has been submitted, it looks good. The priority list, if we did everything right, we should be near the top.
Right.
At least priority level 1 or whatever it may be. And as soon as that comes out, then the NOFO, right, the notice of funding opportunity should come out by October of this year.
Yes, sir.
And then the award will be, it takes a whole year for them to go ahead and issue that award.
Right.
Okay.
And because it's a reimbursement grant, so once the project's completed, then we submit for reimbursement.
Okay, and so this is where the 1.3 has already been set aside by the legislature, correct?
Yes.
Excuse me, may I ask clarification? So then when you're saying a whole year, then you would expect return on that November 26th or from the original submission date of June?
I'm sorry, sir?
Well, you're saying we're gonna submit in November 25. So that means that
So I think grant opportunity.
the grant opportunity, then you get the grants dispersed by November 26.
26.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
And going back to the A&E
Right.
pending DPW, when did DPW receive?
Well, that Director Sanakasi met with them this past week or 2 weeks.
Okay,
So they just needed to make some amendments to the
The
verbiage.
design, okay, the
The
verbiage.
verbiage.
Is anybody in the commission seeing where we're gonna put this 1,000 crypts?
So the projected projected project will they'll take down the hill that's
Yeah,
adjacent.
I'm just,
Okay.
so my point.
Let me ask for it,
is, I think it's a detail that at least the commission should be privy to look at.
I've seen it, but if you want the whole commission to be there, then that's up on you, Mr. Chair.
Can we ask at least for a 2D layout, 11 by 17, so we don't have to zoom in with our the bifocals? It will be nice for me to see where I'm gonna have future residents.
You wanna copy?
And do I get a sunset view or do I get a
Now
sunrise?
you're gonna get the beach.
Okay, just appreciate that. Okay, let's see. So grant milestones, let's please try to get, stay on DPW, push the director to constantly be on DPW's rear end, because we do not need to miss another year of this opportunity. Okay, number 5, Mr. Meno.
And last but not the least, the relocation of Boba is, as of today, dependent on public health's move or relocation. Before the meeting on Johnny Atulai was asking, where are we gonna put these new VSRs? My job is to get them hired. The state director, hopefully with the commission, but possibly push for a move. But
What, do you know what the holdup is?
it's dependent on public health's move. They have to get public health out of Hessler.
Okay, well,
You let the director know that I will be putting in a request to meet with the governor, lieutenant governor, if anybody wishes to attend. To address this specific issue right here and now. As soon as I get a time and date, I will let the rest of the commission know. This way we can push it along. Yeah. Okay, it's one thing to hear from the director over and over again, but to hear from all of us, I think we'll have a little bit more urgency. Because once you get those 6 bodies, well, and then the cemetery workers, they can't sit on each other's laps down there. You know, you're
I
working.
think that's our first off, get these people in, and then for sure we're gonna. But with the.
Well, we're gonna need to prepare
Yeah.
offices for them to
Right.
work out of. Going back, and I'll close after this, when you do the training, Mr. Meno, I know you're gonna need classroom space and all that stuff. Has that already been identified, or if it hasn't?
We've identified a place where we wanna use, I'm not sure if the director spoke with the mayor passed. I'm sorry, I don't mean to put the mayor on the spot, but
If not, I do have a classroom, a conference room that is about the size of this office over here. We have tables and chairs that the team can utilize. That way we can accommodate not just the 6 or the 8, but if every member here sends one individual, the room should be adequate.
so we're anticipating 2 weeks of training. 1 week we would train with Alan Turner and Ms. Jen Paz. And they will do the whole entire drawdown from the intent, the 21-22 intent to file all the way to the end, right?
Okay.
The second week, I hope to invite Vet Center, CBOC, and our friends over at Tizen, just to give a background of what their office does, what they do. For the VSOs, the new incoming VSOs, they have an idea of what our federal stakeholders, and partners to do with our office. And then I'll work with Stephanie and we can report when we anticipate bringing the off-island trainer in. I was just talking with Jen offline again. We're looking at maybe giving them 2 weeks. I think that's sufficient time, enough time for them to do the trip training. That's the online training. After they complete the trip training and they pass, then I can petition the state director for him to approve for the accreditation. And that would take another 3 to 4 weeks maybe, because they will all each have to go through fingerprinting, wait for the cat card to be delivered, get it up and running up at Mr. Bushwick, I think this is.
Okay. Okay, and I appreciate the fact that you're gonna allow for the additional members right here. From what I understand, what Mr. Turner said in the previous meeting was Guam needs about 20 to 25 VSOs. So adding 6, okay, that's good. But it's a drop in the bucket. By adding potentially 10 more, right, it's getting us closer to that 20. So we have to make sure that we set the expectation for these volunteer individuals that come from our organizations. The advantage that we have as an organization is, hey, I have somebody, you need to ask questions. I have somebody in my organization. Third Marine Division will have somebody in the organization, MOPH, and so on and so forth. What's good is Ms. Jen Paz, Mr. Turner, and then eventually the full-time employees that are down there, right? It's going to help ease the workload from ASCEN. If the individuals are ready to go down to ASCEN, ready to file or whatever, maybe if 90% of the work has already been done, all the questions have already been asked. This way, it's not a 2 to 3 hour interview. It's okay, let me just verify all your paperwork is right. And then you have the POA. Once that POA is processed through ASCEN, they can do the final submission, right? Because these guys from each of our organizations is going to be volunteer, with the exception of maybe VFW. They can add VFW American Legion, they have national representatives. So they can do the whole processing 100% through theirs. I'm also looking at the Wounded Warrior Project. I'll be out later this month speaking with some of their leadership to see if they have a small representation here on Guam. They're just getting started up, but also want to invite them so they can also bring an additional member, an additional accredited rep. They're nationally recognized. Doesn't hurt to have an additional person that's out here as well. Okay.
So right now, there's nothing stopping providing more, if 2 or 3 or 4, if you like.
Okay. And we just want to make sure that it's not going to interfere with, I mean, it's not going to interfere or anything like that. I don't want to hear back from them say, oh, the trainer wants to charge each of us $100 or whatever it may be. They're here, and if we can get the training, then it becomes the responsibility of each organization to make sure they attend all the trainings, the training afterwards, and so on and so forth. Don't just go halfway and then, okay, I'm going to wait 2 years or whatever. No, we want to make sure that it's done on time. Mr. Dennis.
I have one question. So is the training completion and passing part of the requirements? Or are you
Yes.
gonna hire somebody in?
No,
Okay, and-
training is a part
So
of
they
it.
have to pass that first before they're officially hired?
And if they don't pass, they're still able to, they're still able to take it again.
Sure.
We don't want to discourage, any organization from bringing forth any volunteers. Because I think, like Mr. Chair said, once we have everybody on board, I think it would really lessen the chaos that, has to happen down at ASCEN, right? With the veterans going down there just for, example, 2122. Offsite, they can take care of that, get all the information done. We quick submit it because it actually takes about 2 weeks for VA to process a 2122, which is the power of attorney. So rather than the veterans coming all the way down to ASCEN thinking they're gonna get something done, we have them meet offsite, get the 2122 in, then, we schedule them 2 weeks out.
That sounds good.
Yeah, so going back to that training, right, just with the maintenance and supply, right, once we get all these VSOs certified, is there resources tied to that? Is there support equipment? Is there
Yeah,
admin
so,
supply tied to it?
currently, and unfortunately right now, under the government of Guam, there is no active IDIQ, a definite quantity, definite quality to purchase laptops. We've been pushing GSA, and we're working with GSA to try to, but if you go to their website, it's still active, they're still recruiting, it's still in the bidding process. My hands are tied to try to even purchase any type of equipment right now.
Yeah, so I think at this point, right, I think this is where we as a commission, Mr. Chair, right, we look at this and try to help go out with this, right? Because right now, you're putting the horse in front of the cart.
Right.
Right, even if we got them
So I
certified,
did, the director said, think out of the box, I went to DOE, because as we know,
Texas.
the auditor says there's a warehouse full of thousands of
Yeah.
laptops, I said, I only need 15.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, they came back and said that because it was purchased with federal funds,
Yeah.
they're not able to survey it out to us.
Yeah.
So I did ask, is there anything that you can give us from the local site? And they said, oh, yes, we have 13. I went up and saw it and I took a picture. I sent the specs to OTEC and they said, absolutely not. It's so obsolete. it would be,
Yeah, software updates on it, but anyways, just
Joe,
throw it up.
or Jen, or whatever, can you ask, can you get from the government, the GOVA director, the form for donations? There's a government form, if you were gonna make a donation to the government of Guam, an agency or whatever, maybe there is a form that needs to be filled out. If for whatever reason, I've helped, I think it was University of Maryland Global Campus, at one point they say, hey, Roy, I've got 5 computers I need to give to somebody. And Upi Elementary was right over there. I hooked them up together and they donated 5 computers to them. So there's other entities that are out there.
the only hurdle that we're going to have to is this OTEC has specific specs, right?
Okay,
And
so then we need that too.
right, I have that, I can forward it.
Okay, appreciate that.
I just wanna make on the cemetery expansion. I just wanna put one thing on the record, there's $1.3 million set aside local funds for the A&E, right? And those funds are gonna lapse at the end of September. And so that RFP, you gotta get that thing on the street really quick. And DPW has been working on this RFP since early this year. So, say, well, we're waiting for DPW has that RFP already. This RFP has to be put out on the street like by middle of next month at the latest. Otherwise we miss that win, and those funds have to be encumbered at the end of September. Otherwise we're gonna lose it. Then we won't have what money for the.
So how do we help with that?
Let me, I need to get what's the latest status with the director. I know that this past week he met again with DPW. I'll have to see what was.
I know that when I met with DPW about a month ago, they said they had the RFP ready, but the director had pulled it. So we should be looking at getting that thing on the street next couple of weeks.
I don't think we can wait until the next commission meeting. If we can get an update as soon as possible, Mr. Mendo, just even if it's by email or the text message or whatever it may be. Because this is 1.3 that's gonna be lost, and then potentially the grant, which is gonna be 10 times that, if not more. Itself, I appreciate it. Is that Mr. Mendo?
One more, I included into the packet, we have an upcoming workshop with the VA PACT Act release on August 22nd, August 23rd, and it will be at Guam Community College at GCC. I know for most of you veterans, we thank you for always being there and supporting this cause. But I think what we need to do is we need to push this out to all your members. So we capture those that have not gone through the process, right? And so this is where we ask the commission and the commanders to please send this out via WhatsApp, take a picture, push it out for all the members and those veterans that have not come forward.
So I gotta say GCC, is there an actual room? Do they have it set up?
I believe so. I believe there's a classroom. Or
Is it the auditorium? There's
I think the auditorium.
Okay, so then just another digital copy of it as well. I'll think.
And then last but not least, we are in July and into August, and Reefs Across America is fast approaching. We provided our flyer again to please share this. You can go online, if you scan the QR code here, it'll bring you to the website where your organization can purchase booths directly. It is my understanding that they did raise the price. It's now $17 per week versus 15.
And your organization gets back still the same $5?
I believe so. I don't think there was anything else. That's.
Any other further discussion? If not, can I get a motion to accept the report from the Guam Office of Veterans Affairs? Dennis, okay, good. So move. Okay, moving on to the new business. If you were here last month, the last commission meeting, we went ahead and we adopted the 2017 bylaws. Mr. Bazan, did you want to give any updates on that, or did you still need some time to?
I haven't been able to
Okay.
get anywhere on that, so I would need more.
Okay,
But if it's been adopted, it's been adopted.
it's been adopted, and so now we look at it and then update it,
Okay,
hopefully by the next meeting.
okay,
Okay, the other three items that are on here are bills that are currently in the legislature or have already made some motion. Bill 8538. Over the last couple of months, there've been some veteran leadership that have met to discuss Bill 8538. And in the words of the authors of the bill itself, it was a well-intended bill, but a poorly written bill. At this point, I think 8538 is not going to benefit veterans on this island whatsoever. It is too convoluted, it's way too long. We as commission members have been doing this voluntarily now for over a decade. We don't need to be paid $1,000 every single month or whatever, maybe that's just more burden on the taxpayers alone. By the time we had reviewed that bill, we had whittled it down to what resulted in better to make an amendment to the existing law than to try to move forward with a whole complete new bill. One of the first and one of the major issues or hurdles that you can have with closing Guam Office of Veterans Affairs and then creating a whole new Guam State Veterans Affairs Office is the federal funding that is already existing. You're risking losing all that funding and having to reestablish a whole new line of accounting and everything like that. So in my personal opinion, Bill 8538 should just be canned and up for recommendation. The genesis of the proposed amendments, I will get to that in a second. Bill 5-38 is the license plate bill. I was able to give testimony, the director gave testimony. Mr. Nick Francisco with Vietnam Veterans Association gave testimony saying, hey, we want to be able to personalize our plates. I know years ago, Mr. Stan Coe, who was an allied country soldier with the Republic of Korea, he'd been asking, when he initially asked for a license plate for the Korean war vets, there was 9 of them that submitted that petition. And about 3 years ago, it was, hey, there's only 5 of us. At this point, basically, I also in the markup, I also asked the legislature to take a look at the total cost of the metal plates with the embossing and all that stuff. Part of the embossing the plates is to make sure that there's no counterfeiting and so on and so forth. There's new technology now where you can print plastic plates, less expensive, print on demand, and this way you can customize those plates a little bit better to your organization. Well, somebody says, I can get 4 plates. Not a problem. You might have served in Desert Storm and OIF and Operation Enduring Freedom, whatever those operations were. All you've got to do basically is work with GOVA, and should things move forward. What I've seen in the state of, I believe it was Mississippi, was you go to GOVA and you go to DMV and you say, there's a big old poster that says, these are the emblems that you can have on the left side of the plate. This is the text that you can have below it. Right above it on the top, it's going to be, Guam USA, Tanui Mantamora, and then the bottom, emblazoned across the bottom was a big veteran text. On the left side, what I was saying was 1/4 of that license plate was going to be your personal emblem, your branch of service. If you wanted to put the MOPH, you could do that. Text below that would be OIF, OEF, whatever it may be. And then law-abiding text, highly visible numbers and all that stuff. It doesn't get buried in the background, so on and so forth. So I threw it out there, and during the markup, I asked them to just take a look at the cost of the metal plates versus potentially, again, bringing that business local, hiring local individuals to print the plates for us. It can be done on demand. And to solve that whole issue of, well, I served in 2 different conflicts. If you're getting 4 plates, you get 2 of one and you get 2 of the other. So that's some of the testimony that was provided. Bill 149-38, I believe this has already gone through. That question there was also to waive, I forget what it was, but I think it was waiving fees for veterans, license plates and so on and so forth. So those are just some of the bills. I put the numbers there so you can reference it and look at it a little bit more. So getting back to the proposed amendment changes,
So
if you can.
if I may, on the bills.
Yes,
So the legislature goes into session next week and they have on their agenda 4 bills, veteran related bills, that's on the agenda. That's Bill 9238. Which designates November as the Veterans Service Recognition Month.
Okay.
I think that's a bill, when it gets passed, commission's gonna need to really take a close look at, because there's an array of activities that the bill proposes to be undertaken. And it's quite an ambitious list. There's also Bill 5-38, which you just explained, license plate and design. There's Bill 84-38, which basically will adopt military certification as qualifications for the Guam chauffeur's license. And then lastly, there's the Bill 149-38, which waives the veterans license plate fees. This particular bill, I think, is going to require some going down to the legislature to point out a few things, because right now what this bill does is it brings a change to the law. The waiver of fees to the license plate is only given to those who are rated at 100%, or individually unemployable. But then what the bill does is it now opens it up regardless of disability certification. You basically open it up to all veterans of World War II, Korean War, and the Vietnam War. But it does not include veterans from the Middle East conflicts. So that definitely is gonna cause some chaos. And so it would be a simple, amendment that needs to be put in. Basically, veterans of Korean War, Vietnam War, and Middle East conflicts. But there's also something else here. But there's the spouse is supposed to be also eligible, or surviving spouse is supposed to be eligible for these benefits. But if you look at the law, the way spouse is defined, that it's the person that veteran married when he was on active duty. So if he married that person after he got out, that spouse, that person is not a spouse. But that's that's something that needs to be visited. But the most important now is the fact that the fee waiver is not applied to those veterans from the Middle East War.
Tom, are these going up for a vote or another hearing?
public hearing.
No, it's on the agenda for discussion, and then they vote on it. Okay, now, so, but it's still, there's still opportunities for further amendments. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if by the time they vote on this bill, it's probably not going to look like this. So, okay,
I appreciate it. Thank you very much, Mr. Senator Adam. Thank you for being the legislative committee head.
You're one.
Let me just say something with regards to the November Vet Month. It's true. It is. You talk about a wish list, right? It's really good, but whether or not it's manageable, right? I mean, they're shooting for the stars on this one, and if the veteran organizations have not looked at it, I highly encourage you looking at it, because I wouldn't say it's a task to us, but if it fails, it's on us, right? The entire month, right? So November is just right around the corner, right? And school's going to start, in about 2 weeks. So I definitely encourage us to look at it, because yes, GOBA is the head on this, right? He's the belly button, but we're the ones who can help shape the outcome of our month, right? First time out of the chute, and we flop on it, is because we weren't involved, right? So I highly encourage us to take a look at it, and please I would recommend that we provide some input to the director and help shape our month.
Can you, number one, get the links of all these different bills and also shoot it out an email to the rest of the commission as well?
I think we're just gonna add all.
Put everything
one
together,
email, yeah.
put everything together, shoot it out to us. Okay, appreciate that. Any other discussion regarding that? I'm sorry, I was gonna go ahead and close it off with the proposed amendments to GCA chapter 67. With a bunch of the veteran leadership, met to discuss Bill 8538. We also were notified that Senator Ada had also wrote up some recommendations to amendments of chapter 67. And when holding both up to the light, basically 8538, we all opted, we're not even gonna deal with that. It's just way too many problems, way too many corrections and too much to risk. So with the chapter 67, that hasn't been touched in decades, if I'm not mistaken. And so some of the recommendations that had come up was whittled down to about 11 pages of recommendations. And with that being said, as we stand right now, it's the executive branch, GOVA's office, the GOVA director, and then we are merely an advisory board, an advisory commission. And so with the proposed changes that we're looking at, one of the big key changes there is that the GOVA director not merely consider the policy recommendations or consider the recommendations from the commission, but actually execute policy recommendations that is going to be put forth. In my observation, if we are representing here 80% of the veterans on this island, it would behoove him to listen to what the commission is coming forth with, especially when it comes to policy. We don't intend to get into the nitty-gritty of cemetery operations, how they're supposed to do their job or anything like that, how they file claims and any of these things. But when it comes to policy moving forward on how the director should move forward with actions and so on and so forth, that is the recommendation that we are changing. And instead of just considering it, he or she must take action to adopt and implement the recommendations that comes from this commission. So no one understand, Mr. Meadow, the reason why we have a lot of these questions is for years, the commission would ask the director, and it's not just, I'm not pointing just at Mr. Jose San Agustin, but we would ask the director for these reports. And what I recall was, I didn't get to it. I'll get to you next month and so on and so forth. And of course, that doesn't rub the commission in a good manner, doesn't bode well for collaboration and cooperation. So among other things, did you want to touch on it a little bit or?
Yeah, so a lot of the headway on this, right, goes back to Senator Tom Ada, right? And then the working group. Now there's been some discussion, right, on the net, on the news, or on the radio. How come I wasn't invited? This and that. Okay. Hey, the bottom line is the working group was a working group of key individuals from various veteran organizations in order for us to get traction fast and move out with 8538 and do what we're supposed to do rather than admire it. Right. So the group was assembled and we constantly worked. I mean, I'm pretty sure it was once a week we were meeting at a minimum of an hour of, no kidding, nut work. Line by line, and it get down to, is that the right word we want to use, right? So majority of us here, if you've been in a working group, more than 10 people, you ain't gonna get work done. You're not gonna get it done. So that's why the working group that we had, and it's not because we were against anybody, is that everyone shared the same interest, but we needed to move fast, specifically on that bill. Because it really caused a lot of concern across all veteran organizations. And I'll quote Chris Tarano on this one. This bill, if it did anything, it brought all of us together. If it did anything. And it did, right? Sadly, it was for the wrong reason, right? But I believe that the working group with Senator Tom Ada, Uncle Sonny Yatar, Tim was on it, and various others, right, that were part of that working group. We have got a document ready for the best, probably I would say the 90% solution. We got it. We just gotta clean it up. And then probably, Mr. Chair, we brief this cohort. And then we pass it off to the senator, and she either, and then like I told her yesterday when I met with her with the chair, ma'am, we're gonna give you this document. Right, and this is what we, as a veteran organizations of Guam, and the people we represent in our organizations, this is what we propose. And it's up to you to whether or not you kill 8538 and you move out with the amendments of chapter 67. So I would just, at this moment, Mr. Chair, I just want to thank everybody that had input into that working group. It was a lot of long hours, and it was hours after our normal work days. And that just shows the commitment of this current veteran commission. So whatever the commission was before, it was before. It is what it is now. So whoever's admiring what it was before, you need to stop it, right? Because this commission today is moving out with intent and moving out with purpose, all right? And that's our task. So whatever you thought it was before, hey, you just need to kill it. And if you got a problem with that, then just admire us when this is all done. Thank you, Mr. Chair, for my 3 minutes time of having it.
You appreciate it, and to add that, guys, it's the rhetoric or the repetition of saying veterans we're fighting with each other, that has since gone out the window. I recall 10, 15 years ago trying to attempt to attend a Veterans Commission meeting, and I think in the span of a year's time, there was quorum maybe 3 times. And in the 3 times that I was there was individuals that would just go on a filibuster of 25 minutes, berating senators and the government and all that stuff, and gone are those days, right? The understanding of our mission and our purpose of being here as part of this commission is to move, the wishes and the intents of veteran organizations with collaboration and cooperation, so that our veterans in Guam in general are treated respectfully and are afforded the best laws that can be put forward and recognized whenever need be. So, that being said, I just want to go ahead and, thank the senator for having the wherewithal to look at chapter 67, review it, recognizing that it is not perfect. I don't think there's a perfect law out there. And we know that even with the recommendations to the amendments of chapter 67, it's not going to satisfy everyone. And there's one thing that I will repeat is even Jesus couldn't make everybody happy. So who the hell do we think we are as an individual or as an organization? We can only try to do the best for what we think is going to be good, and if in some cases greater for our veterans and their families here on this island. So in new business, we're probably making a lot more traction than I've seen in the last 10, 15 years. We want our voices to be heard. And so with part of that recommendation is no longer just will the GOVA director consider it, it's going to be taking action, especially on policy. And yes, sir.
Yeah, I just want to say that I thank you to John Pipino and the Vet Talk Show. I thought it was a good opportunity to get on the show and talk about the direction that we would like to take this alternative to Bill 85-38. So I thank him for giving me the time to kind of discuss the framework of what it is that we're looking at. I know that it caught some members by surprise that I went on, but I don't think it was a fatal error. And I think my objective was to plant that seed for stakeholders to start thinking about what it is that we're looking at. And so I guess next week probably won't be a good time to meet with the senator because they're in session. But after the session, then a meeting with her would certainly be a good idea to get her up to speed on what it is that the alternative that we can.
So Senator, because of the talk show, I met with the senator yesterday. And I talked about what we discussed in our working group. So offline, when we're done with this, those of us who are part of the working group, we want to hold back. And I got the due outs. There's only 2 due outs that she asked from us. And we can just meet after this and we move forward, because pretty much, Senator, like we said the last time we met, we just need to put it in a bow and send it up. I think we have necked that thing down. We have went line by line almost every meeting. So I think after this meeting right here, just to consider for some time for everybody, those of us who are part of the work group, just hold tight, and then we'll just let you know what. I would tell you that she didn't act surprised, so that was a good thing. And she didn't have a lot of questions. So, and I'm just reading her body language, not saying that's a lot, but it didn't seem like she was against it. So, thank you.
Appreciate the input, everybody. That's it for new business. The next item up is public comments. Ms. Glenn, Mr. Tula, yes, sir.
1 minute, sir. Mr. Chairman, for all you nonprofit organizations, the Vet Talk Show is to disseminate the information that each and every one of you come up with, whether it's an opinion, a question, or something. I don't, if I don't have the answers by the next show, I will have the answers. So to all of you, like Senator Adams says, you need information disseminated, then boom, give me a call. And if you want to present a guest from off island or from within your own organization to be present and claim as who you are, what you are all about, give me a call. You all know how to get a hold of me. That's it, Mr. Chairman.
Appreciate it, sir. Mr. Forrest?
Yes, I'm really happy to hear that this commission is going to have some kind of influence into the GOVA director. The one thing I'd like to add is not only a recommendation or whatever, but it's a call to action, and then there's a timeline that the GOVA director has to come back and answer to the commission where he's at on whatever the call to action is. Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you very much.
We're not spinning our wheels.
Okay. I don't have anybody operating. Oh, Mr. Duchess.
I have 2 things, please. Thank you for allowing me here. Very humble. Brian asked me to come in. I guess Alan's stepping down and I'm going to be the primary. Jim's going to be the secondary for our post. After our last meeting, I didn't realize how many different vet organizations are really in Guam. And I was wondering if there was a list or how we can level the synergy of what the vet organizations are all about. So that we're not duplicating efforts. And I didn't know where I would begin with this. I had spoken with Congressman Moylan's office over a year ago about it. We were trying to move out on that just to see who's who in the zoo and how we move forward. The second point is that after the meeting last month, I was a little taken aback and trying to figure things out. So that Saturday, I did about a 2-hour deep dive online as to what the Veterans Commission is. And I couldn't find it because it was all over the place. It was 2017, 2019. And I don't know, do we have somebody who's assigned as the knowledge manager or the IT person, or how do we keep the files? Because if this commission is supposed to be public record, then any veteran should be able to get on there, just type in Veterans Commission and just start scrolling through to see what we're all about. And it also still lists Ms. Tanya Eubanks as the head of the organization, as the director or the point of contact. So I didn't know how we move forward on that aspect. I'll gladly help out in any capacity. I just was not sure how to do it within the rules and regulations of what we're doing. So I just wanted to bring that up for the commission's attention so that we can figure out the way forward on that.
Okay, I know with the commission, it's treated in chapter 67, GCA chapter 67. So that's where by law it establishes this commission in itself. And that's where we know it's not perfect, and hence the proposed recommendations in an amendment to the veterans chair at the legislature to make some of these changes. Once it gets below that, we didn't want the law to deep dive into how we're gonna treat grievances, how we're gonna do this, how we're gonna do the day-to-day operations. This is where the bylaws then come in. So if in 2 meetings, 3 meetings prior to that, Mr. Guzan and Mr. Turan were actually working on reconciling the old bylaws and the proposed new bylaws. And but because of the last meeting, we adopted the 2017. And so now it's how can we update the 2017 bylaws to better reflect what we're doing, you know, in the here and now. So if you go into that history, it's GCA, so Guam Code Annotated, Chapter 67, you'll see the entire law creating the code office and then establishment of mission. And then when we're finished here and we get a pretty a nice clean document that before we present it to the senator, we'll have that shared with the commission members. Just want to make sure the email, if it's not already been sent out by Chris or now Jen, make sure that they have your email so that you can get back. As far as history is concerned, I can go back as far as when we started meeting again during, I don't know if it was during COVID or right when we were coming out of COVID, where we only had to advertise it digitally. Those will be on the governor's Facebook page. You would look for the videos basically, and that would be the record capture basically of these meetings. Moving forward now, I think what's going to end up happening is I'll be tasking the secretary is going to be providing the minutes. Ms. Tanya Eubanks was an employee of GOVA prior to that, and that's what she would do. She would sit on that computer. If there was anybody that was online, she would be there to ask if anybody was there to, willing to share or wanted to talk or have a discussion. So that's basically it in a nutshell. Moving forward, I think the meeting minutes, at this point, the secretary will have, and this is where we can go ahead and update the bylaws. The secretary will be the one to maintain all transcripts, all notes, anything that has to do with the commission. The secretary will be responsible for having all of that, other than creating a historian position, which we don't need to. The secretary will maintain all those documents. If the secretary has to go ahead and create a whole Google storage, cloud storage for all these meeting minutes and everything like that, by all means, that's I'll leave that to the secretary, especially these files getting really large, things like that. So hopefully that answers that. The list of veteran organizations, I would defer that to the Guam Office of Veterans Affairs to potentially put it out. I think if you were listed on that email address there, if you could decipher in their organization name through the email, that's one way to do it. I don't know if Revenue and Taxation has a whole separate entity of nonprofits, because if you were technically a veteran organization, you would be a 501c19, right? 501c19, because a C3 is basically a nonprofit general general nonprofit organization, with 19 is specific to military. Veteran, military and or veteran fraternities or so on and so forth, but it becomes very limited, very restrictive when you apply for that 19 charter. So other than that, I will leave it. Potentially that's a due out then, Mr. Neno from the office, if there is a list that does exist. Okay, appreciate that. Thank you.
I think, Mr. Chairman, from the very beginning, from the first meeting that we had in February, the request was made, if the veteran organizations, that is the foundation of this commission, if they are, in fact, nonprofit organizations, newly registered nonprofit organizations, which the law requires, for the members of this commission. And that we haven't established. And we keep saying, and go to Rev and Tax. Well, how about the organizations themselves? Don't they have in their files?
So let's put this as a due out then for every organization and before we get into the next meeting, which is going to be the 29th of August, bring all the appropriate paperwork. And that would be for all the organizations that are currently here. Bring your certification from Revenue Tax, so we have roughly about 30 days to go up to Revenue Tax to get a letter of good standing with Revenue and Taxation to be submitted. If you get it beforehand, submit it to the secretary. If it's not so Chris is not gonna be, assuming the secretary role is gonna be you, Jane. Yeah, correct. Okay,
You also need bylaws.
yes. So let's go ahead and do the certificate of good standing and bylaws of your and your certification of nonprofit. There is a you do get a certification from Tax that indicates your organization is a 501c nonprofit organization registered with Guam Revenue Tax. Okay, so that's a due out from every organization that sits in this commission.
Just so that we can complete our files, and then also, the other part to that is that each organization is supposed to submit to the chairman or the commission, basically, the appointment of who that representative is that will sit on the commission and basically, speak on behalf of the organization.
So that being said too, let's make that so that you have two names. You're gonna have a primary and an alternate name that is going to be submitted along with your documents. Put in a nice little folder, right? So that it doesn't get all messy. If you want to send a digital copy to Miss Jen Paz, then make sure we put your email out there. Send it to Jen Paz. By next meeting, go ahead and bring hard copies. That way we can all put it in a nice folder all together, and then she can be the record keeper for all of that. If you want to make two copies so that we can go ahead and give Mr. Meno.
I was gonna propose, Mr. Chair, that whatever files that Ms. Jen has, that we make duplicates that we can house at GVAO, as well as house or should be also housed at the boards and commissions here at the governor's office, since the commissions under the purview of the governor's office. That way, because just for the record, my last time meeting with boards and commissions office, the last entry was from 1995. Ever since then, there has been no records ever submitted to boards and commission. And with that, I just want to say that for the record, I'm submitting to the commission. I received from BFW Post 2917, Mr. Miranda, their list of appointees to the commission. So I made a copy for myself that I will keep at our office. So anything moving forward, whatever is submitted to me, that I have to submit to the commission, just know that I'm gonna make a copy and keep for our file, because we don't have anything for the commission at our office.
Okay, so this document was created by Mr. Miranda or yourself?
I found it online.
Okay.
And converted it to PDF, filled it out, so it's already out there.
Okay, perhaps so that we're all on the same page, you could email this to everyone that's in the commission.
Yeah, I'm gonna suggest maybe the different commanders could.
Or send it to Miss Jen. Jen will have the blank copy, and then she will know who to send the blank. That way, we're all on the same form. We have the same format that we're gonna submit.
It was from the commission from way back, I guess.
Okay.
So I gave the original with a copy to Mr. Chair, and I did a copy for myself.
Jen, this is your appointment.
A lot of do out.
There's a lot of do-outs, and can we make sure that
It's a different commission.
So for the agenda, we're gonna work with the do-outs. That's exactly what we're gonna do for the next commission meeting. We'll have the do-outs. Are there any other announcements from anyone attending at this moment?
Last time we've had like the CBOC people online or other like the vet center, or they're just not participating at this time, or it's not available.
We get no response.
Okay.
No, but you know what, I mean, that's a great point, and what I would recommend is with this current commission, probably we do the face-to-face meet and greet, right? I mean, let's do our part as well, and not sit back and expect them to show up thinking that it's the old crew, right? I think we introduce ourselves and bridge that gap through relationships and gripping and grinning. So they know who they're working with and what they can expect from our side, so that's what I would recommend.
I appreciate that.
Maybe a calendar of visits, since we're kind of gonna start flat handing a little bit, but have a calendar that whatever members can make that particular visit, that we can do that, so It's not going to be resting just with a couple, we'll try to do everything.
I do appreciate that because I remember when we did have the meeting from Dr. McDermott, he would constantly give us the updates of the new staff, the incoming staff, the rotation of doctors and personnel that were up there at the CBOC. So I will take on the personal effort. And I'll bring the some advice also to try to make contact with Dr. McDermott. The invitation is always open, of course, to the legislative chair, Senator Sabrina Antonelli Salas. The Congressman's office has sent representatives in the past. You know, we want to make sure that the efforts that he's making on that level are also satisfactory and the wish or the will of the commission and the veterans on this island. So, yes, sir.
And one other question, please. I'm trying to drink more firewood here. So in the past, there was also a task force that worked for the congressman for veterans issues that reported up to him on federal stuff. And that no longer is in effect. So do our recommendations go through Gov Guam office here, then up to M4? Or how do we bridge that so things that are federal can get looked at least some attention brought to the issues?
It's more of a courtesy. It's more of a courtesy in sharing information with the congressman's office. As it stands right now with the current law, we are merely an advisory board to Guam Office of Veterans Affairs. We were created under the executive branch. And so invitation, and we appreciated the visit from representative from the congressman's office. We always welcome visits from the legislative, from the legislature and their the senators and so on and so forth. At this point, if there's something to be pushed out, it would be first approved by the entire commission as a draft letter or whatever it may be, and then presented to that office. We would be able to go directly to the office, but not just the chair or an individual going. You may represent your organization if you wanted to meet with them. There's nothing stopping you with your organization meeting directly with the congressman. But as a commission, if it wanted to put something, push something through his office, it would unanimously need to come with all of our signatures, schedule an appointment with the congressman, and then present it to him so that at some level with the in Congress, he's going to be able to present it and say, hey, look, we have this letter from our local veterans commission. These guys are made up of X number of veterans and organizations. These are their requests. These are their demands. These are their wishes and so on and so forth. So we meet every month, right? And what we talked about earlier this year was it's going to take some time to figure out everything that we want to be, where we want to stand in the public's eye, and change from what it was 5-10 years ago to where we are today. Like, you know, Mr. Santiago said, it's a whole different face right now. We're not just here to say, hey, I've got a barbecue this weekend, come on down, right? We can do that on our own time. We are actually now delving into public law. We're now delving into matters that are going to not only affect our veteran population, but our family members and the public in general.
Nice.
So we are seeking for more teeth, is what I was told, right? We are seeking for more teeth in not only in the executive branch, but the legislative branch, and then maybe even with Congress, that we are coming forth with a more unified voice, right? With a unanimous support from all of our organizations to say, here is what we would like to see. Here is what the veterans of this island feel about this certain bill. This is what we feel about the direction of what veteran services should look like. And when you take the history of what has happened over the last few years, and then you take a look at what's moving forward with the region, we play a large factor. And if in fact there are 20,000 plus veterans on this island, that is a large voting bloc. So be it politics, be it having a nice voice, it has changed. It has changed drastically from when I first started getting involved with the commission, even just as a galley member, to now sitting here as a chair. It is not an easy task to sit in one of these positions, but I do my best to try to steer it and get everybody's input so that we can move forward, make better progress, and actually be a force out in the public, be a force with the legislature. Everything. Somebody that says the veterans, when we say the veterans feel this way, I can confidently say, we here have discussed it. We have been able to say, this is what we feel is important to our veterans, as opposed to one organization talking to one individual, another organization talking to somebody else, and they're getting pulled from left to right. If we can say your 250 veterans, your members, your 500 veterans, whatever, we can collectively say, hey, there's 5,000 of us represented in this room by the leaders that sit at this table. Here's what we feel. Here's what we think is going to be best for the veterans on this island. So hopefully that answers a lot about where we've come from and where we want to go moving forward. We've done a great job of not being influenced by anybody on the outside other than putting our own thoughts, our own emotions, and our own reputation on the line right here to make sure that I'm not just trying to look out for my veterans, we're trying to look out for everybody. Senator?
I just, one point, I think it's incumbent on all of us, and we're really the conduit for the concerns of the veterans community out there to also feed up to the executive committee topics that we think should be on the agenda under new business. And if we don't get, to that, then it goes under old business, and we'll get to it when we get to it. But we also need to, I think, feed from the bottom up.
Understood. Appreciate that. So, Secretary, you've got a long list.
Yes.
And I appreciate your time and your effort to putting this together. So, gentlemen, you guys will get the email again as well prior to the announcements of what needs to be on the agenda. Please rack your brains, think about stuff that needs to be on there. We'll try to make sure that we keep it concise. And if it's somewhat related, we'll put it under the same tab. The discussion of all the bills, those will go over to old business. Unless it's still relevant or there's a date for when they're going to meet to discuss those bills, it'll stay on the agenda to continue to operate. So the two outs, the big one that I want to ask for everybody, of course, is your certificate of it, your certificate from Revenue Tax, if they have the letter of good standing, and then your primary and your alternate appointees to individuals that will sit at this commission. Other than that, if there's nothing further,
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
make a motion to adjourn.
I second.
Announce.
Good.
Next meeting, 29 August.
Thank you.
All right, good. What do you appreciate it?
Yeah.
Say, Tom,
Great.
1629.
you know the language to initiate the November 7th recognition.
Turn the video off.
Where did that come?
Yes. I think we don't need to do that.
I don't know where any of those came from.